Today we're gonna do two things. Take you on an adventure, let you see what it's like. And we're gonna answer some of the most frequently asked questions that you're gonna have whenever you head out to the trail. The first one, let's go ahead and answer it. It is, what do I wear? I'll give you a quick fit check. I got half a buff. I have a merino wool blend top. I'm gonna link everything I talk about in today's video in the description. I got some Under Armour pants, and for shoes, I have some Ultras. Now we are in beautiful McCreary County, Kentucky. The first thing we're gonna see is Natural Arch. It is massive. Let's head that way. Well, it looks like we have just about reached the Natural Arch. And we got two goals. Goal number one, to see a waterfall. Goal number two, tonight, I don't know where I'm camping, but hopefully wherever it is, I will have good enough cell phone signal that I can stream the game and watch my Boston Celtics. Let's answer another question. What all do I supposed to bring in here? Well, I am actually gonna link a video that you can check out above that shows you everything. But for this trip, you'll be seeing it throughout the video, of course, the gear that I'm using. The biggest pieces of gear that you're gonna need is called the big three. That would be your backpack, also your sleep system, which I'll show you mine later, and what kind of shelter that you're gonna sleep in. The rest of it's gonna be like the clothes that you're wearing, the food, your kitchen, that kind of stuff. We've headed on from the lunch break and now headed to the 5-mile loop with creek crossings. Now my feet are already wet from the first creek crossing, so what's a few more, I suppose. I will tell you, on the gear, there's no right or wrong way to do it. Your way's gonna be different than anybody else's, and that's okay. There's the old cliche, hike your own hike, which means exactly that. Like, for instance, I have this sweat towel hanging off that you may not need, or a Garmin InReach, so I can text my family if I don't have cell phone signal. And as you'll soon see, I really enjoy the luxurious lifestyle while I'm out on trail, especially when I'm doing a smaller loop like this, just for one night. Not sure what this marking is for. Just saw it as we were walking down the trail, but don't feel like it's too promising. I have had at one point 1 bar of LTE and 1 bar of 5G. At least if we don't get to watch the Celtics, then hopefully we'll experience that waterfall. I keep hitting these almost waterfalls. You can hear them just off in the distance, but you can't see them. I just found this awesome spot to stop at. Nice cool breeze. And there's an arch up above me that I'm about to go check out. Thought this would be a great place to answer the next question. Where do I get all of this stuff? And I can tell you how I did it. I started by borrowing stuff off people that I knew that would loan me backpacking gear and I could try it out. And then I went to big box stores like REI, also local retailers, and Facebook Marketplace and Facebook groups where you can buy used gear. You don't really know what you like until you've really been out in the woods and kind of tried it out. Maybe go with some budget-friendly options to start off with. Eventually you'll figure out the gear that you really enjoy to use. Then you can kind of dive into the cottage company industry and try out some specialized gear that's made just for you. Now let's go check out this arch. How wicked is this? I don't know if it has a name or not, but that is super cool. The next question is, what size backpack should you get? Now this one in particular is a 70 liter. It's made by Hyperlite. Actually, I would suggest buying your gear first and then buying a backpack that would fit your needs for that much gear. Let's head on out of here and see if we can find us a good campsite and hopefully watch the NBA game. If not, I think that we are going to be watching on Netflix Atlas. Let me know in the comments if you've seen it, but no spoilers. Look at this rock as we walk out of here. Nature never ceases to amaze me. Now we are encountering some blowdowns. I suppose from recent storms, somebody's trampled through here. I'm not the first. I suppose this is one of our creek crossings from the sign. Not too bad on that one. Nice and dry. This appears to be a bit of a wetter creek crossing. What do you think, guys? I think that's another almost waterfall. That doesn't qualify in my book to be our official goal-winning waterfall of this trip, so I hear it getting louder and louder. It seems to be really running over on this side. Let's see if we can find somewhere to get a good view of it. Well, I don't know if I'd call it the biggest waterfall I've ever seen, but it is a waterfall. Let's go! If the worst thing about this trip is that's the biggest waterfall, I think I could deal with that. Now let's see if we can find somewhere to lay our head. Okay, we may have a problem with camping down there. As you can see, there's like a dozen people on side-by-sides or four-wheelers. So maybe I'll backtrack a little bit, camp somewhere else. We're in Daniel Boone National Forest, and there is a whole lot of off-roading through here. The search continues for the campsite. It appears that this is going to be where our campsite is for tonight. And I got the hammock set up. I'm ready to answer the next question. What do you do during your downtime? It's a couple hours until dark. NBA isn't going to be on for a while. I got some time to kill. Well, I'm going to eat this Subway that I brought and play a little music just like these people that are driving around on these side-by-sides using this Tron Smart speaker. It's actually called the Mertune C2. It's not going to matter if it gets wet out here because it's got an IPX7 rating on it. So I actually stored it on the outside of my backpack whenever I was packing it. 360 degrees surround sound. It's got 24 watts of power. And I'm laughing because I'm thinking back to my wife and I were in the hot tub the other day and we were using this speaker, and I was like, what is it? Is that a car coming? It was the bass that was kicking in the speaker, and I could not believe it. With 24 hours of playback time, this thing is not going to die on me out here anytime soon. If you want to check it out, I will link it in the description below because Tron Smart is actually today's video sponsor. And if you don't like this speaker, you can check out their site that I'm linking below or their Amazon page and check out their other speakers that they offer. Here's my sad Subway sandwich. It was a little bit fresher, maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours ago. Subway Eat Fresh. It's good enough. If you're wondering, the Mexicali, that's what I got. And wouldn't you know it, another waterfall. Definitely goal achieved. What a great spot to do our next camp chore. I stepped just a few feet away from the waterfall because it's so loud over there, because I wanted to answer the next question, which is how much water should I bring with me on trail? And the answer is every trip, of course, is going to be different, but if you're going to be near water sources, I would suggest instead of packing a bunch of water, just filtering water. I guess it's time to tell you there's no service out here. So I'm going to text my wife using the Garmin inReach Mini and enjoy Atlas tonight. I know a lot of people just want to come out here and unplug, and that's the goal. For me, I wanted to make this video and watch the NBA, so epic fail on the NBA, but that's okay. We got a little bit of hiking to do in the morning, and the most important part of the video is upcoming. Before we just sit back and relax and call it a night, let me give you a quick tour of my camp. Here's just a wide view of everything. Got a custom hammock here with all kinds of doodads hanging from it. Got the tripod set up here with the speaker so that I can film. Got some doodads on the end, my shoes hanging there with my food, filter. I brought a little lantern. There is my hygiene kit for whenever I'm ready to brush my teeth. Got my underquilt and backpack hanging on that end with my inserts sticking out. And the only thing right now in my hammock is my top quilt, my pillow here as well. That bag is a bag full of clothes. That'll be what I change into for tonight and tomorrow. And I got my underquilt hanging here instead of actually under the hammock at the moment, because the hammock is actually my chair for this trip, and I'm going to sit and chill in it, and I don't want my butt sweating. I think it's starting to get pretty chilly. I've been enjoying the movie. Atlas has been great so far. Sun's starting to set here. It's about 15 minutes to sunset. All right, I'm all changed into my pajamas, and it's looking nice and cozy over here. Look at that. Underquilt is good to go. I'm ready to crawl in and be snug as a bug. And don't forget, coming up in the video, we got one of the most important parts of being on trail. Good morning. Let's get up, maybe make some coffee, and I gotta tell you guys, how are you supposed to poop in the woods? So my steps are, I gotta boil a little water and then use the AeroPress with the coffee, of course, and then sit here and enjoy. Oh, cheers. Man, that is delicious. Another great question is, what do you eat while you're out on trail? And I have a few of these little snacks like this, but I'll show you in my food bag kind of the situation. I have some jerky. This is ribeye. I have some chocolate checks, trail mix, There is some oatmeal in there. Of course, I had the Subway last night, some instant coffee. So really, you can bring whatever you want to eat. Kind of depends on how much money you want to spend and how much weight you want to carry. You can get some other dehydrated stuff that isn't too expensive, like Knorr pasta sides or ramen noodles. If I'm going on a short trip, then I'll bring fresh fruit and veggies sometimes. But if it's going to be a longer trek, I'm often going to go with the dehydrated stuff just because it's multiple days and so much stuff to carry. Next up, how do you fit all of this stuff, including all this junk laying on the ground, inside of that little backpack? Everything that needs to stay dry needs to go inside of this pack liner, and that would be pretty much everything you see hanging here, minus the stuff that goes on the outside, like my tarp and a few odds and ends down there. I do fluffy stuff down at the bottom, like the top quilt, under quilt, and then the stuff that's going to be more dense, I want to keep that close to my body. The idea being that you want your center of gravity and that backpack center of gravity to basically mesh, and it's like a little turtle shell on your back. So the dense stuff needs to be close to your body, and then the fluffy stuff, it kind of just pads around it to hold everything in place. Some of this stuff can go outside, like the lantern or the water filter, but other stuff, of course, needs to go inside, like the battery pack. Speaker can go outside since it's waterproof, sit pad, and then I have on these soggy wet shoes that I got to change into. The last thing I'm going to do is put on those wet shoes. Everything just feels kind of damp out here, so whenever I get home, I'm definitely going to set all this up and make sure it dries out. Last thing you want is go on your next trip and everything's mildewed. Now I can pack up my tarp. I'm gonna go here on the outside of my backpack because it doesn't matter if it gets wet. So I got everything packed up, and the question is, how much is all that supposed to weigh? A lot of people try to use the 20% rule, which basically means that your backpack shouldn't weigh more than 20% of your body when it's fully decked out with water, food, everything. Personally, my backpack is probably about 25, 30 pounds right now for this overnighter, and I brought a lot of luxuries, so I could have went significantly less on this. That's right. Let me show y'all how to poop in the woods. Well, the first thing, go away from your water source. I found a log that looks like a perfect sitting log. You just let your butt hang over here, or you could kind of hold on to a tree like this and squat down. In my toilet kit, I have some toilet paper. I got some wipes, but the first thing you're gonna need is something to dig with. You can use your shoe or a stick. I have the Dirt Diggler 6-inch here. So you want the hole to be 6 to 8 inches deep and, I don't know, maybe about 6 inches wide. You might miss the hole while you're pooping. If you do, just take a stick and rake your poop over into the hole. Now, once you get done with your business, of course you want to wipe off and stuff, but what I typically use is the pocket bidet. This just inserts in the top of your water bottle, and then you can use it to squirt your bum clean. Use some toilet paper to pat dry. Make sure that you got everything. And cover up your doo-doo. Cover it up with the leaves and dirt that you kind of raked off there in the first place digging your hole. Also, you want to clean your hands, so you can use hand sanitizer. Personally, I prefer something like this. This is powdered soap made by Pika Outdoors. You just wet it a little bit and it is good to go. It makes a bunch of soap. Also, some anti-monkey butt to help keep you nice and fresh down there also helps. Back on trail now. I have the strong odor of cucumbers through here. Maybe it's an old wives' tale, I don't know. They say that copperheads are nearby whenever you start smelling cucumbers. This is pretty dense snake country. I haven't seen any on this trip, but I've definitely seen them in the past. We were down here not too long ago and ran into a rattlesnake. At least I do have the Garmin inReach Mini, so I can hit the SOS button if I really had to, if I broke my leg or something severe happened. I think you could probably walk out with a snake bite. I mean, my truck's not too far. This whole loop is only 5 or 6 miles. And here's where they came through yesterday. See everybody's fresh tracks there. My trail is just over there, but this is kind of where I was thinking about camping yesterday. I'm glad I didn't, because they literally drove right through the camp. See, there's a little fire ring here, some trash. I think the biggest problem with the trail at the moment is, as you can see, it is pretty beat up from these vehicles coming through here. I think the truck is just right over there. Look at that. Another little almost waterfall as we're about to end the trip. Nobody busted out the window, so that's good. If you want a little bit of a longer form discussion on some of these topics, you can check out the podcast that I co-host. It's called the Backpacking Podcast. Make sure you give me one of these, subscribe to the channel, kick that notification bell for the latest notifications. We'll see you in the next one. Wow, I just finished the highlights to the Celtics game. That was insane. What a crazy comeback win there.